destroyed the Orokin, your way of life. Who do you hunt, Shadow, to cleanse your despair in their blood? Tenno!
Hello ladies and gentlemen, my name is Andrew and welcome back to another episode of In the Mist, the series where I talk about a game I'm in the midst of playing and the impression it gives. We're continuing again with our showcase of Warframe, and this time, in this video, I want to talk a bit more about quests. Naturally, this is going to have some spoilers because I'll either be featuring parts of or playing a quest in the background. In a previous video, I mentioned the game had quests, but didn't expand on this at all. And this is in part because a lot of the quests earlier on are actually pretty crap. I didn't get to experience the good quests until about a month or so after making that particular video, so I could only go based off the initial impression the game gave me. Luckily, there's different types of quests in the game. So you have your quests that are part of the main storyline, then there's the optional quests, and then there are optional lore quests or optional quests that usually unlock new Warframes. Firstly, I'm going to start with the bad things about the quests in this game, because a lot of the earlier quests tend to recycle missions from the general game, but they don't have much in the way of dialogue, depth, or cutscenes, and just end up being more repetitive missions. This even applies to some of the earlier main quests like Once Awake, which is the second main quest. It's literally just you doing a spy mission, then an exterminate mission, and then a defense mission. And all of these are missions that are recycled throughout a large majority of the game to begin with. On top of this, quests generally require you to complete junctions. And these require you to defeat a Spectre before allowing you to move onto the next planet. Now, a Spectre is basically just a Warframe being controlled by, I don't know what the fuck, it doesn't really explain, or maybe it didn't, I wasn't paying attention. But you fight this Warframe that's protecting this junction, which is meant to get you to the next planet. And that's actually the easy part, and it's perfectly fine. But before you can actually challenge these Spectres, you're required to complete specific tasks for that junction. Example of these tasks are defeating the current planet's boss, or surviving a certain number of waves in a defense, or killing a certain number of specific enemies, and so on. And these aren't bad, because they're very specific. And that's until you hit certain tasks that are RNG based, meaning that you often have to repeat missions an absurd amount of times if you're unlucky. And one example of this might be to open 3 caches during a sabotage mission. What makes this problematic is that the caches have a pool of set locations that they will randomly spawn at each time you do the mission. They might even spawn in extremely hard to find places. As a result of this, you might end up spending an hour or more trying to find each and every one of these caches. There are guides available, but unfortunately, due to the randomness, you'll still have to check every possible spawn location, assuming you don't lose patience with the guides themselves. And this pretty much wrecks the pacing of the game's storyline. It feels like a massive oversight, and it can be extremely frustrating to a point that you'll actually want to quit the game. Fortunately, things start to get very interesting once you hit the second dream quest. It's probably the first cinematic quest introduced to Warframe, and it's probably by far one of the most cinematic and elaborate quests I've actually seen introduced to an MMO or MMO Lite to this date. This is where the quests start to ditch some of those repetitive and typical missions from the game. It does kind of devolve into your typical exterminate missions, but it's complemented fairly well by the rich dialogue. There's new enemies introduced and even unique boss-style fights that finally make it feel like you're playing something just a little bit different. It feels like the second dream is where Warframe actually begins to show its real potential. It's also where the main quests begin to flourish into their own. The voice acting, the dialogue, the delivery, the environments, the narrative, the hauntingly stunning music, and the cinematics all complement each other extremely well. It's when you reach this point in the game that you start to wish it was like this from the very beginning. And Digital Extremes have been improving with each quest to a point it almost feels like you're playing a slightly different game each time. In fact, the War Within, which is the quest following the second dream, has some surprisingly new gameplay mechanics, and it doesn't even use a single mission from the main game. The quests actually incorporate a level of quality that makes it difficult to believe that this is a free game.
To me.
What was that?
The Queens.
queens? The Grineer queens? Tell me what...
I am warning you. You think you're safe behind this metal, but you're not. Not in the ways that matter here. Behind this, you're still just a child.
Stop saying that.
Follow me again, Tenno, and you will answer to my sword.
I'd like to take a moment to thank each and every one of you for watching, and to thank Digital Extremes in advance for allowing content creators like myself to make videos like this. Links will be in the description for more information on Warframe. Please don't forget to subscribe and visit my channel for more videos. If you enjoyed this video, then please let me know in the comments below. I'd also like to ask you what your favourite quest is so far, and I say so far because with the constant improvements, the quests seem to be getting better and better each time. Now, I don't know if I'm going to have any more In the Mist videos for Warframe. I feel like I've covered everything I can think of so far. Maybe if enough people want to see more videos, I'll feature the next quest and maybe even the next expansion. I might even do some streams on it if people are interested in that. I do really want to feature Fortuna if I can. I'm really excited for the Fortuna update. I'm not very good at this game though, so I don't think it'd be too entertaining. Maybe I can do a feature on each one of my Warframes. I don't know, let me know what you think in the comments below. Once again, thank you for watching, and as usual, ladies and gentlemen, I will see you in the next video.
But the dreamers have awakened. They will come for us.
Yes, they will. Like the answer to a prayer.